were from range guides to little hammerheads, and which I'm sure a lot of this stuff was hand forged. Look at these old holes. This one was like that one. See, nearly wore out. See how narrow it is. This one was likewise the same, and they wised up, and they cut them a piece of metal and welded it to try to add some life to that hole. Just things like that you see that's just unique. And these right here, no doubt this is a hand forged piece. Look how crude it is. I'd say it was probably a whale. If I'm guessing, it was for a whale pulley. I'm not sure of that, but maybe altogether wrong. But it's a hand forged piece, and this right here, I believe, is probably a bit, a horse bit, but you could tell it's hand forged, twisted steel. Don't know for sure that's what it was or not, but good guess. There's an old stirrup. Just things that you know, iron comes out of the ground. I like finding these irons that had a handle on them one time. You know, I ain't never found one yet that was not broken or without the handle. But I find them, just several of them. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to show you is I got on this no doubt it's a Civil War camp, and I was told it was a Confederate camp. And oddly enough, it wound up being on property that post-Civil War, belonged to my great-great-grandparents on my mother's side. And anyway, I know the people that own the land now, and the house that my great-great-granddaddy lived in, they remodeled it, and it got blew away in a tornado back in 2008. So it scattered things across this whole piece of property. But so there may be a few things in this that I found that was from that tornado, but it would have been a house that was remodeled. It was my great-great-grandparents, and this came from the Civil War site, but it's post-Civil War, so this very easily could have belonged to my great-granddaddy. 1885. My great-grandmother was born in 1898, and this being 1885 could have very easily been her daddy's, which would have been my great-great-granddaddy. That was found on the camp. But anyway, I was wanting to show you these things. There's a lot of iron, you know, in the ground, and of course you can see some of these things. Maybe you may be able to recognize, you that are big on Civil War, but because I'm not. I do know where Square Nail is, and I know that there's a lot of those in the ground. But one might argue you're on an old house site, but there's a difference between a horseshoe nail and a square nail for a house build, and I don't find any what I'd consider, you know, house overburden or whatever. These things would all be prevalent, I guess, in a Civil War site. There's an old knife handle, and all these other things, just gibbles of lead, just camp lead and whatnot, and a hook. I did redo it. I thought that was interesting, so I kind of tried to take care of it. But anyway, these. No telling how many of these horseshoes and fragments of horseshoes that I found there, and buckles like this. This, I believe, is probably a lock to a trunk or something that they had. And I found a couple of these. I'm not quite sure what these are. And then look at this big tack or whatever it is right here. I don't know what that is either exactly, but it's I'm confident it was Civil War era, whatever it was. But anyway, this right here has got something stamped on it right here. You see the star, and that's a T, and I believe that was an S. Best I could get, it was an ST, and it has a stamp there. I believe it's got a number 10 toward the end of that. I can't really make it out right now. But anyway, it's clearly you can see the star and the T. And that's probably a source of lead that they were using. And I had asked somebody that was familiar with Civil War activity, and they told me, I asked them, I tried to get somebody to tell me what caliber these little bullets were, because while I found several of the little round balls, you don't find the 3-ringers, you don't find the big musket balls and whatnot that people find in different parts of the country. A lot of fragments, but most anything that's whole is these little bitty round ones, and these that look like 22 caliber, except they're long. Some of them are. And the only explanation I could get, the guy, I believe these right here, maybe percussion caps, he said that when, you never know what you're going to find on a Confederate site, unlike a Union site where they were issued several things on a Confederate site. They used pretty much whatever they could get their hands on. I believe these are percussion caps. I'm not sure, and you correct me if you want to on them. They're not shell casings or bullet casings like 22 casings. Probably another one right there full of something. Anyway, all this come off of the Civil War site, which covers about, I don't know, probably 5 acres that I can detect. Part of it's wooded and I can't get down in it. But I found these old spoons. This one here looks like it's been shot. Check this out. Very well could have been shot, They were in war, I think you call that a rat tail, maybe. That's old. A lot of this stuff is post Civil War era. I mean, it's older than what would be 1860s is when the Civil War was, and some of this stuff is older. For instance, the seated dime, 1843. It came off of the site, and I'm sure this is probably stuff that was on these soldiers. Whether it be a lot of these buttons, look at the buttons. A lot of them got nice back marks. Not many of them's got shanks. I guess they lost them legitimately. But a lot of them's got nice back marks. There's a script I. So it was clearly a Civil War site. But some of these things I just don't know what they are. But I wanted to look at these 2 buttons are the same. They're 1830 jobs. They're civilian, but they were worn by these guys that were on site. They obviously didn't have issued war, clothing, so they wore what they had, I guess. And a lot of this stuff, I'm sure when they got drafted into the war or whatever, they just grabbed what they could get and went out the door. Had a job to do. But anyway, a lot of these items is probably just personal things. Look at the big Tomback button right here. That thing would have been big around as a $50. You can see it's just a fragment of it. But anyway, there's some things on here I have no idea what they are, and you may. And I'd appreciate it if you knew to tell me what you think they are. But I'm confident that a lot of this stuff is, Civil War related, but I don't know. It's kind of narrow looking. I don't know exactly what they are. That's a decorative piece of something right there. And oddly enough, check this out. Carlos III, and the best research I can get out of it, that's the date. So this was, how'd that get there? No doubt it probably somebody walking out the doors, parents or grandparents, handed this to a young soldier and said, "Bring this back to me." Well, they didn't bring this piece back to him, and it was cut Spanish real. And I hope the soldier got back, but that didn't make it back. And why would somebody in the 1860s be carrying a minted coin from 1759 to 1788? It's just hard to explain things, And this piece right here, I'd like to know what it was too, but I don't have no clue. Don't have no writing on it, no text. Probably come off of a bag or something. I don't know for sure. Lead balls. Some pieces of lead's got holes. Looks like it's been drilled in them. I don't know if they were trying to make pennants out of them or whatnot. A lot of spoon parts. What I assume are spoon parts. There's an old key. And these may be parts to some of their rifles or whatnot that they had. I don't know. This was interesting find. It says Darling. It very well, I'm assuming it's Civil War era. Probably belonged to one of the cadets there, or whatever you call them, soldiers there, as a keepsake. I mean, when you're in battle like that, keepsakes you keep them pretty close to you, I would say. And when somebody lost one, well, they really lost something back then. And again, I don't know what some of these things are, but I know what the buttons are. This here is not probably Civil War era. I figure that one's probably more modern. Still thought it was interesting nevertheless. But anyway, these little caliber bullets, whatever you think they are, what was they shooting? 22 carbine or something like that? I don't know. But some real nice little buttons. I really love that right there. That's an older button right there. Well, that may be a lead pencil. Anyway, that's just a taste of some of the things I've been finding, and I'm really partial to this site right here because it after the war, of course, it belonged to my great grandparents, and there are things that I've not actually been to the spot where the old house was, and there's probably some more of this type stuff in the yard of the old house because it's still there. The yard is it's the backyard of where they rebuilt that. Once the tornado took the old house, it just took the house, and then they moved their foundation up closer to a road, so the old house's yard is still there, and it stretches back towards the campsite. So I'm hoping to go back there. The grass is tall now. They cut hay off of it, and I'm hoping to go back there this winter whenever there's no hay to bother, and see if I can't get some older stuff. Some old stuff from my grandparents maybe had there. Won't get no older than this stuff right here, but if you recognize any of this stuff, just let me know. That's lead right there. Real pretty buttons. Some of them are. You ever seen such gold gilt left on them? Crazy. Them two are the same button, but they were found about, 2 football fields apart, which ain't far. But anyway, I want to show you those few things. Those no doubt, these are the 2 oldest things that I own. Take it back. Yeah, this would be the oldest thing I own, and then I did find another cut piece of silver. Let me see if I can find that right quickly. I probably won't be able to. It's probably in the bottom. No, I see it. I found this cut silver right here. That's probably second to the oldest that I have. And some of you have seen it because I made a video of it. It's sitting right there. It's the first U.S. minted silver dollar. And that's a picture of it right there. I've got it laid on top of. That's the back mark. That's the American Eagle. See the AM to the right. And it's the A and the M right there on the little piece of. And you turn it over to the other side. It's a draped bust, and it's got her right boob. It's cut right in that area. If I had this open, I'd show it to you, but I don't have it open. But anyway, these things come off of all come off the same side, and that would have been, I can't see the date on it, but that's roughly the mint marks or the dates on that particular coin. That's the second oldest thing I've got, and then the seated. All right, I'm running out of time. We'll chit chat later.